episode of Make with Meg. Today we're going to be thinking about the future. We are going to be thinking about a decade from now. 10 years. 10 years. In 10 years it will be the year 2029. What will your life be like? So recently I have started doing long-term planning. Long-term planning is not something I have ever really done before. I am a jobbing artist, I live job to job, and professionally I've started to do some long-term planning, and that's fed into my personal life as well. It's all intertwined. So this is a task that actually I've done with an artwork of mine called the Curiosity Museum, and it's where I ask you to write a letter to your future self, and you're going to open it in a decade's time. Good afternoon and welcome to Breaking News. I've interrupted this week's Make with Meg because there's one thing hitting the headline this week's, and it is the coronavirus. This week's Make with Meg was actually filmed back in June of 2019 when there wasn't a whiff of corona around. And with that in mind, I wanted to interject this week's episode because what I think that you guys could do is I think that you could tell your future selves about what it is we're going through right now, because this is history, and tell your future self about the concerns and the worries that you have, and just interject a bit of that into this week's Make with Meg. I'd still like you to run the Make with Meg exercise exactly as I put it out there, but I think it'd be really good to consider where we're at now and tell your future self about this, because this is something. Also just wanted to send like a little message of hope from me to you, which is times do feel really weird, really anxiety driven in my tummy at the moment, and I'm just sending some calm, positive vibes out to everyone. Thank you. Now I do like gold, so this is a lovely golden envelope here, and all you need for this task is you need paper, pen, and an envelope of some sort. Now, as with all of my makes, you can have these items lying around, or they can be specialist, however you prefer. I'm an artist, I have an art studio and have access to a lot of materials. I'm very much aware that you may not, and this is not about making things that look beautiful, it's about making things that are practical and change your life, but aesthetics to me are a practicality, so gold for me. But for you, it could just quite simply be that you have an old envelope lying around, a nice yellow one perhaps, or it's maybe just, you get those birthday cards and then suddenly you just have this stack of things that have fallen apart and you have some random envelopes. A random envelope, that would be good. Perhaps you could actually write it inside a birthday card for yourself. That might be quite nice, a lovely card. Just some note paper inside an envelope for that one. Or how about just complete recycling? This is some Waitrose spam that came through the post to me, because I am a Waitrose member. I like to get my free coffees. Perhaps you could just use one of these and you could gaffer tape it together, put whatever you like in it. And so when you're writing a letter to your future self, it's really good to take stock of here and now and congratulate yourself on being here and now and in this moment. So it's good to recall to your future self what you're doing right now, in work or in school and in your personal life. And then it's also good to say a couple of pointers, I'd say about 3 things that you imagine your future self may be doing. And it's not something to feel sad about if in a decade's time when you read this letter it isn't what you're doing. That's completely not the point. The point is that things do change, and I'm sure that things won't go exactly to plan. But what it also will allow you to do is create some notes along the way. So here, the future goals here, you could have like a just really simple kind of tally here with your goal, one thing that you'd like to achieve over the next decade, how you're going to do it, And then here is a deadline with a tick. And what I quite like to do is I like to have a little extra column on there that says treat. So once you have met that goal on your deadline, you recognise that with a treat. So it might be that the treat is you're going to go out for a drink with somebody, with a friend that you don't see that often. It might be that you're going to treat yourself and go to a water park for the day. And so I think it's good to have 3 kind of goals within your letter and to state those goals and have them somewhere else. You can have more goals, but within the letter I'd only include 3. And once you've written your letter to your future self, you need to store it somewhere safe, which is super easy to do. Under my bed is a very safe place, got lots of random things under there. And make sure that there's an open date. So whatever the date is today, when you're viewing this video and you're writing your own letter to open to yourself in a decade's time, write whatever the date is today plus 10 years to open. It's also good to think about how old you're going to be in 10 years' time. For our younger viewers, that's much more significant. When I do this workshop in schools, it's with children and young adults who are age between 13 and 16, and then they're going to be aged between 23 and 26 when they open this. For me, I am going to be middle-aged to middle-aged, so 33 right now, good year, and I'll be 43. So so thinking about how old you're going to be as well is quite a nice thing to do. Yeah, secure your letters, put them somewhere safe, and it may be that you want to give them to somebody else to look after for you, which is also a really good idea. Just someone who you know is very organised and has good places, and someone who you're likely still to be friends with in a decade's time. So that's it for this week. Write a letter to your future self and open it in 10 years. 10. You. Made with Meg. Let me hear what you made with Meg.
I made with Meg.
Yeah, you did. What have you done?
I have written a letter to my future self that I'm going to open in 2029.
Oh, yeah. How old will your son be then?
10 years old.
Oh, well done.
Thanks.